Farah doesn't flinch. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A Wednesday evening. Well, it's actually a Thursday morning where the Jaguars are now over in London, England, as preparations are well underway for Jacksonville and the LA Rams. Of course, that's a Sunday morning kick, 9:30 on the East Coast. You'll hear it right here on 1010XL. It's a really good game by London standards. You think some of the stinkers they have had over the last couple of weeks with the Jets and the Browns, not this week. The 4-2 LA Rams, the 4-2 Jacksonville Jaguars. It should be a good one. The injury report came out earlier today. We already knew that Devin Lloyd was going to be out. He did not make the trip to London. We already knew Quentin Morris was going to be out. He did not make the trip to London. Everybody else was at least limited. And in Trayvon Walker's case, he went full today, which is an improvement over last week. Robert Hainsey was limited today. Can they get the center back after missing last week with a hamstring? Again, I understand Britton Strange being on IR, and I understand being without Devin Lloyd, and those are two big losses right now. But all in all, you look around the league at all the injuries and all the injury reports that came out today, relatively speaking, Jacksonville is in pretty good shape, injury-wise, heading into Week 7 of the National Football League. The big news for LA, of course, is Puka Nacua. He hurt his ankle last week, did not practice today, and in watching Sean McVay's press conference earlier, certainly seemed that if Nacua doesn't practice at all, he probably will not play in the game. The Rams are on a bye next week, just like Jacksonville is, so it would make sense if Nacua is not 100% to probably sit him down and not play him. The one thing I will remind you is last week, remember how big a deal we made about 3 Seahawks defensive players in the secondary being out? Oh, they're without 3 starters in the secondary, and I was guilty of that as well. That didn't matter one iota. Seattle was still clearly the better football team. Would LA love to have Puka Nacua? Are they a better football team with Puka Nacua? Of course they are. But if Jacksonville doesn't come prepared to play, it's not going to matter. Just like last week, Seattle being without 3 starters in the secondary did not matter at all. So we're going to spend a lot of time on the National Football League. Former Jaguar offensive tackle Leon Searcy will join me in under 15 minutes. Also, we'll crunch the numbers, decimal points, analytics. How are the Jaguars, statistically speaking, 6 weeks into the year? Daniel Griffiths, Action Sports, does a terrific job crunching the numbers, and we always love talking Jaguar football with Daniel Griffiths, and he joins me coming up here in less than 35 minutes. Also, kudos to Matt Hayes. You hear him every day on Primetime, my buddy for USA Today as well. Matt went big today with his story on the USA Today that apparently Gator Athletic Director Scott Strickland reportedly met with high-level boosters yesterday, and essentially Scott Strickland was told, you're not going to have finances if you don't do something about this Gator football program. You can go read Matt's story on the USA Today. He did a terrific job. He outlined how Billy Napier tried to hire Charlie Weiss Jr. a couple of years ago. That did not happen, obviously. He did not try to make another offensive coordinator hire after. And according to Matt's sources, Billy Napier could be shown the door on Sunday. And that's something I've heard all week as well. I heard back on Monday that it didn't necessarily matter win or loss. Billy Napier may be fired regardless of the Mississippi State outcome on Sunday. Now, I've told you guys, I believe if they lose to Mississippi State, he'll be fired. If they beat Mississippi State, well, that's a little weird, right? To fire him after a win. So we'll see what happens there. But certainly there's a lot of smoke when it comes to Billy Napier's security with the Gator job coming up here this weekend. And no one's even really talking about the game, right? They do play Mississippi State for homecoming Saturday, 4:15 on the SEC Network. And, of course, you'll hear that game as well right here on 1010XL Radio. So a lot on the college game, a lot in the NFL. We are glad you are spending part of your Wednesday evening with us. Every night on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No, because it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
You know, rewind the clock back, I don't know, 6-7 weeks ago, right? We'll call it Labor Day. Labor Day week. And Jacksonville Jaguar fans, if I were to tell you at the beginning of September, just 6 short weeks ago, that you are going to beat the Houston Texans at home for only the second time in the Texans' last 11 trips to Jacksonville. If I were to tell you you're going to travel out to San Francisco and knock off the 49ers, getting only your 5th win ever in franchise history in the Pacific time zone, and if I were to tell you you're going to go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes and you're going to beat the Chiefs for the first time in 16 years on Monday Night Football in front of over 22 million people that watched that football game. If I would have told you all of that 6 weeks ago, you probably would have said, wow, that's amazing. Sign me up. So then why are we so upset, we meaning media, the fan base, the collective we, why are we so upset about what we saw Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks? Did we let our minds wander a little bit? Did we let expectations get the best of us a little bit? Probably, right? The Jaguars have already won as many games this year as they won entirely in 2024. The Jacksonville Jaguars are massively improved across the board at basically every position, opposed to where they were in 2024. They're a more well-run organization, a better coach team, simply have a better roster than they had in 2024. But I do think instead of pumping the brakes and realizing the reason Liam Cohen and James Gladstone are here in the first place is because the team was horrific for the last year and a half. They had lost 18 of the previous 23 games before Cohen and Gladstone arrived. I do think because you had so much early success in beating Carolina, Houston, San Francisco, and of course Kansas City, I think last week this time when the Jaguars were 4-1, we all let our minds wander a little bit. We let our minds drift off a little bit, saying, wait a minute, maybe we're this year's Washington Commanders. Maybe we're this year's surprise team. Maybe we're going to coast to an AFC South championship and things are going to be hunky-dory and great. The question is, was Seattle a reality check or was it simply a bad day at the office? Well, I believe we will start getting that answer on Sunday at Wembley Stadium in London, England. Because if it was a bad day at the office, the Jacksonville Jaguars should go out there and, worst case scenario, compete with the LA Rams. Certainly they can win that game if they play up to their standard. But if that Seattle game was a reality check, and if maybe the first couple of wins were a little bit of fool's gold, well, then I also think that will come to light pretty quickly as well, beginning on Sunday at Wembley Stadium. Because if you play like you did against Seattle, LA will beat the pants off of you. I don't care if Puka Nacua is playing or not. So that is the question all week. That is my question. That should be your question. Was the game against Seattle simply a bad day at the office, or was that game against Seattle reality hitting us right in the face? Well, we're probably going to find out sooner rather than later, and we'll begin getting that answer at Wembley Stadium Sunday against the LA Rams. I will go ahead and tell you right now, I could change my mind, but I'm leaning LA in this game. I was so taken aback at how bad the Jaguars were on the offensive line, the constant penalties that continue to happen, the lack of production down the field on offense. That's an awful lot to, quote, clean up in 7 days' time. And my concern is maybe it wasn't necessarily a bad day at the office. Maybe people have begun to figure this Jaguar football team out. What do you always hear? You want to play your best football in November and December, not in September. Well, the Jaguars played pretty darn well in September. And maybe they can get back to that in November and December, but for one Sunday in October, the Jaguars looked like the team last year, which is not good. That game against Seattle reminded you of some of the things that happened in the last year and a half prior to Cohen and Gladstone's arrival. Can they get over that on Sunday against a good LA Rams team? Let's talk to a man that played 11 years in the National Football League. You hear him every day on XL Primetime. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. And Sunday, you will get him and myself, Front Runners Tap House. We will be live on location beginning at about 2:30 Sunday afternoon, 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Rams go final. Leon Searcy and I will have the fifth quarter for you. We hope you stop on by. All the 1 o'clock games will be going on. We'll be recapping the London game live. Could be a festive time if the Jaguars win, certainly. Let's talk with Leon Searcy about the 4-2 start. Let's preview the Rams. But moreover than anything, I thought the offensive line was atrocious on Sunday against Seattle. What did one of the best offensive linemen in Jaguar history think? I think you'll want to hear it. That's next, right here on Hacker After Dark.
Get in the huddle with 1010XL's QB.
All right, guys, let's make a play for 1010XL.
David Garrard joins Mike and Fat Tony on Jaguars Today. Restored by Resto Pros of Northeast Florida on 1010XL.
Hey, it's Frank Frangie. Business owners, listen up. If your plumbing or AC company keeps giving you the runaround, it's time to cut them loose. Call my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. They already partner with some of the biggest commercial operations in Northeast Florida, like the Jaguars and station operations. Their office team makes invoicing a breeze, and their field techs, top-notch pros. Make the switch today. Duck Duck Rooter, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Call 904-862-6769. 904-862-6769. Tell them Frank sent you.
Strap in, Duval. The Jaguars are gearing up to face the Los Angeles Chargers Sunday, November 16th for our annual Salute to Service game. Join us as we honor and celebrate the brave men and women of our military all game long. Secure your seats now and be a part of the action by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. Let's stand together, Duval.
Take a radio boat ride with Captain Cabin on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show. Reeled in by the Pest Pros at Royal Pest Services and awaken 180 weight loss.
Thursday nights at 6.
On 1010XL AM.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
It's the event everyone waits for. Now at Beard's Diamonds. Buy one, get one free on all wedding bands.
Now for a limited time, when you buy his wedding band, get hers free. Buy hers, get his free. Save up to $10,000. Are you about to get married or been married for years thinking it's time for an upgrade? There's nothing that symbolizes your love more than the wedding band. Beards has hundreds and hundreds of bands from top designers in white gold, yellow gold, rose gold, titanium, platinum, plain bands, channel set bands, pave set, eternity bands. And for men, masculine bands, wide, modern, with and without diamonds, hammered, brushed, engraved, lots of colors. Come to Beards now and find the wedding band that reflects your style and your personality. Buy one, get the second one free. The big box corporate jewelry stores can't or won't do this, but Beards can. And it's happening now through October 26th. Buy one wedding band, get the second one free. Don't miss this opportunity to celebrate your eternal love with the eternal symbol, Beards Diamonds, at St. John's Town Center.
Are you trapped in a high-rate mortgage, watching your hard-earned money vanish every month? Stop right now. At Loan Pronto, they are delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars a month. Lock in at a fixed rate as low as 4.99% APR and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal needed in most cases. And here's the kicker. You can skip your next 2 house payments entirely. Don't wait. Rates this low won't last. Call Loan Pronto now for your free, no-obligation quote. Loan Pronto is amazing. So start now by calling 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or visit loanpronto.com to lock in your new low rate and skip those next 2 payments. 999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS, consumeraccess.org.
Rollovers, head-on collisions, hit and runs, you name it, we've litigated it.
And while insurance companies joke about the mayhem that occurs on roadways, we've seen the real effects. Lost lives, catastrophic injury, cars crushed like soda cans. And trust us, there's nothing funny about it.
If you've been in a crash, count on our experienced attorneys to seek full justice and all the money your case is worth.
For a fairer fight, you know who to call. Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Rams, Sunday, 9:30 in the morning here on the East Coast. Of course, it'll be 2:30 over at Wembley Stadium in London, England. You'll hear the game on 1010XL. And 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Rams go final, Leon Searcy and myself will have the 5th quarter for you here on 1010XL. Let's talk with the former Pro Bowl offensive tackle of the Jacksonville Jaguars. You hear him every day on Primetime, and we're lucky enough to have him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. Leon, how are you, bud?
I'm good, bro.
All right, it's been a couple of days. The game against Seattle was a rough one, no question, and it was rough particularly, Leon, for your bread and butter, the offensive line. And I got to tell you, man, I had to stop watching videos of the game because the more videos I watched, the worse the offensive line looked. How bad was it really from your opinion?
It was a debacle, bro. I mean, it was a manhandling by their defensive front on the offensive line. In other words, to be quite frank, Hank, it was embarrassing. It was anytime you give up 7 sacks, the amount of pressures that we gave up and holding and illegal procedures and all that kind of stuff. It's just a bad day for the offense as a whole. But everybody knows that the offense achievement starts with what you do up front. And this offensive line understands that. And if they have any pride about themselves, because listen, I played in this game 11 years. We've had bad games as a unit, maybe not like 7 sack games, but we've had bad games as a unit. And if you have any pride about yourself in that meeting room, you come out swinging on Sunday.
It was a bad game for the unit all the way around, no question. And, Leon, you almost hate to call one individual person out, but let's be frank here. Walker Little was not good on Sunday. How concerned are you about that?
I'm very concerned. Absolutely very concerned. I'm concerned to the point where it might be a situation. Listen, I know the organization has made some a restructuring of contract deals, and everybody's saying, hey, maybe we need Maybe we need another pass rusher, or I'm thinking maybe we need another lineman, a left tackle, somebody can solidify the position. I mean, he got dish ragged on many occasions. Got bull rushed, got beat around the edge, he got beat inside, and then that linebacker play, where that linebacker just armbarred him and tossed him to sack Trevor. Man, you can't have that. Not when you're 6'7", 330 pounds. That was embarrassment. So I mean, I've seen enough of Walker, quite frankly, to be honest with you, to where you've got to bring somebody here that can push him or replace him.
Former Pro Bowl offensive tackle of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Leon Searcy, with us here on Hacker After Dark. And those words obviously mean a lot coming from you. And when Tony Baselli is the EVP of football operations, I would imagine he had to be pretty disgusted at what he saw on Sunday as well. Leon, another issue is the running game, man. 4 weeks in, the Jaguars had a top 5 rushing attack in the league. Even going back to the win over Kansas City and then particularly the game against Seattle, they did not run the ball very well. Is that a matter of, all right, teams have film on the Jaguars now and they're just making it harder to run than it was the first month, or is there a deeper problem than that?
I mean, there's a deeper problem than that, Hack. I mean, this running game or lack thereof has a lot to do with the offensive line again, quite frankly. This team, this group is not as, I don't know, intense, motivated, sense of urgency like they were early on in the season. You know, they might be smelling themselves a little bit. I don't see the get off. I don't see the hand placement. I don't see the guys being tossed around, and teams are toughening up against them. They're taking away our run game and putting them in a position where they could tee off on them on the pass. And only group that could change that is the guys up front. They just need to, I don't know what they need to do. They need to somehow get this thing rolling again. And just my history of being offensive lineman where we've struggled in certain areas, man, they're in London right now. I would just take the offensive line. We all go out to dinner. We all sit down, have some wings, drink a couple of pints, and kind of get, just have the conversations. I'm telling you, because I did it in '96 when we played the Bills. Dave Waddell suggested we go out, have some wings, have some beer, and talk. Everybody was talking about the big bad Bills and how you had to stop this guy, that guy, whatever. And then Dave Waddell said, "Hey man, the hell with all that. Just go out there and punch him in the mouth." At some point, Hack, it's just got to be a war wheels. You got to be able to say, "Man, I'm bigger and better than you, and I'm going to show you on each and every play that I am." At some point, you got to do that.
And clearly the Jaguars are capable. The first month, they were running the ball very well. They were protecting Trevor very well, but it was a bad day against Seattle. And look, you got Jared Verse coming. You got all these young Rams defensive linemen, Braden Fisk as well. It'll be a tough chore for the Jaguars on Sunday. We'll get to the Rams game in a moment. Leon, 8 catches, 90 yards, and a touchdown for Brian Thomas Jr., clearly his best game of the year last week in the loss to Seattle. He did have a costly drop, no question. But I want to talk about Travis Hunter. 4 grabs for 15 yards on 7 targets. They're not going to him down the field very much. He's involved in the screen game. He's involved in some 5-yard out routes. In your opinion, man, are they using him correctly, and why are they not going down the field to him more?
Bro, if you listen, with everything you gave up and choosing him second overall, why'd you pick him if you're not going to use him in the offense? I mean, this guy has got big play ability with the ball down the field. Why aren't you using him on go routes, on 9 routes? Why aren't you using him on skinny posts? It's almost like you got this fancy car in the garage and you won't drive it. Drive it, man. You paid for it. It's yours. Drive it. Use it. It doesn't make any sense to have a Ferrari in the garage if you ain't going to drive it. Why'd you purchase it? You got to give him some opportunities down the field. All these bubble screens and these quick game stuff. Get him one-on-one with a corner, and let's see what he can do. Let's throw a couple of jump balls at him and see if he can come down with it. He did it at Colorado. Why couldn't he do it in the league? And I know the guys are more experienced, bigger, faster, but the kid has legit speed Let's see him get him in man coverage against one of these DBs and let him go deep. Let's see what can happen. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me that we aren't. First of all, we're not taking any real shots down the field at all, and all the teams are doing is pressing us in the middle because they know that we got a shorter intermediate game. We haven't stressed any defense yet with a long ball. And until we do, they're going to play this. They're going to play that tight coverage on us, on the middle stuff and the intermediate stuff.
Well, and he's absolutely capable of it. You know, the 28-yard catch against San Francisco on 3rd and 15. But, again, that was his really only downfield opportunity there. We saw the great catch against Kansas City. But, again, that was the only opportunity they really gave him down the field. They didn't give him hardly any opportunities down the field against Seattle. That needs to change. Final moments with former Jaguar Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. Leon, I want to talk about the Rams game. But if we take a deep breath, right? And I know it's frustrating, you being a former Pro Bowler, you know, it was frustrating on the 5th quarter for us last week. But you take a deep breath. We're a couple of days removed. At the end of the day, they're 4-2. They're in great position. They would be in the playoffs if it started today. Now, there's no doubt this Rams game is enormous, and we'll get to that in a moment. But I do think it is one game. Now, if it happens again against L.A., well, then there's a deeper conversation to be had. You hope, though, that it was just a bad day at the office for a lot of facets of this football team.
I hope. That's what I'm hoping, Hack, because the most irritating thing for me watching that game, that it had remnants of last year. Yeah. That's what it troubled me. It looked like I thought we were over the last year's team. I thought this team would be, execute better, don't beat itself with penalties. Now, the defense, in my opinion, played well enough to win that ball game, even though despite the lack of pass rush. I think on it was a couple of occasions in the fourth quarter where they got a couple of 3-and-outs, and I was like, okay, they gave the offense every opportunity to come back and win the game or tie the game up or whatever. So I'm not talking about the defense. I'm just talking about the offense as far as the offensive line and the lack of productivity. It reminded me a lot of last year, the way this offensive line played, and I thought we were over that. That's why I was frustrated. So I'm gonna give it to be one bad game. Now, if I see that again on a Sunday in London, then I'm gonna be discouraged a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't have a lot of confidence, particularly in the offensive line. They're gonna have to earn the confidence back after what happened against Seattle. It's a 9:30 kick on the East Coast. Rams, Jaguars. You'll hear it right here on 1010XL, and then of course 2 hours after the game goes final. Myself and Leon Searcy. The coach Gerald Ingram will actually be out this week. He's got a reunion up at the University of Michigan, so we hope the coach has a great time up there. But you'll get me and Leon on Sunday afternoon, probably about 2:30. We'll actually be live out at Front Runners Tap House near the corner of Phillips and Emerson. They're inside the Jacksonville Igloo, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully we're talking about a victory, but we certainly invite people out to join Leon and myself, Front Runners Tap House, on Sunday afternoon. All the 1 o'clock games will be going on as we're doing our post-game reacting to the Jaguars and the Rams. All right, Leon, 4-2 is a great place to be in, but let's be honest. There is a Grand Canyon's worth of difference between 5-2 going into the bye or 4-3 going into the bye. You're playing a Rams team that's coached by Sean McVay. Him and Liam Cohen obviously know each other very well. The general managers, Gladstone worked 9 years under Les Snead. They know each other very well. Certainly a lot of interesting dynamics with this game on Sunday over there in London.
Yeah, I mean, this. I would think that this new regime is a mirror image of what they like to be like as far as the Rams go, because they have so much history together. So, and let's be quite frankly, the Rams, they won a freaking Super Bowl. Okay, they won a Super Bowl. They've had success. They've given up first-round draft picks and brought in free agent guys and still won the Super Bowl. I mean, it's been years. I mean, they've got the first round back, but they gave up a lot of collateral to build a team to win a Super Bowl, so they're to be commended for that. But yeah, as far as the win or the loss goes, a loss would kill momentum. I don't care what anybody says. A 4-3 would kill momentum going into a bye. A win builds momentum because the heavy lifting, and I hate to say this when people say heavy lifting, because every game in the NFL, no matter what the team is, it could be a struggle. But as far as the schedule goes, the heavy lifting will be over. The Chiefs are out the way, the Niners are out the way, the Rams will be out the way, Seattle will be out the way. Those type of things. Your back end of your schedule looks a little bit more comparable. You got the Titans twice who's struggling. You got the Cardinals that's struggling. The Raiders are struggling. Then you got the Broncos and Indy, those type of games. So, I mean, if you go 5-2, Hack, 500 on the back end probably gets you in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at 9-8, or a little above 500 gets you in the playoffs. So you're talking 10-7. You would love to be in that kind of position down the stretch, because after the bye, you should be thinking, okay, where do we need to position ourselves for the playoffs? That should be your motivation. Bill Cowher used to do this to us when I was a Steeler, when we played 16 games. He said, listen, get 2 above 500 by the 8th game. We take off the pads. We give our bodies some rest to make that playoff push. So, I mean, they're right on the cusp right now of when you need to be thinking playoffs. So going into the bye with a 5-2 record will give you all kind of motivation.
Jaguars will be without Devin Lloyd. It's still early in the week, but it appears that the Rams potentially could be without Puka Nacua, which would be a big loss for them. Leon, I've said all week, I like the Rams here. I was taken aback at how bad the Jaguar line of scrimmage was last week. They're going to have to win me back. And as a result of that, knowing what the Rams have on that defensive front, I'm going to take L.A. What's your thought?
I'm going to take the Jags in a close one. I'm going to take the Jags 2014, 2017.
I would certainly take that. The Jaguars would absolutely take that after last week. Hopefully you're right. Hopefully I'm wrong. Regardless of what happens, you and I will be at Front Runners Tap House Sunday afternoon, roughly about 2:30 or so, for the 5th quarter, 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Rams go final. Former Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. Leon, have a terrific couple of days, my friend. I'll see you on Sunday afternoon.
You got it.
There you go, Leon Searcy. You hear him every day on Prime Time, and you get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. Leon likes the Jaguars, and good. I'm happy that he does. I disagree, at least right now. Again, still relatively early in the week. I'll give you my final thoughts probably tomorrow night. But yeah, I go back and I look at that offensive line, and maybe it's a coping mechanism. Maybe if I keep talking about how awful they were, they'll play better, because Jared Verse and Byron Young and Turner and Fisk and all those guys on that Rams D-line, they're monsters, man. They will get after you. Jared Verse will get after you. And the thought right now, after what I saw out of Walker Little last week, of Jared Verse going up against Walker Little, should give you nightmares if you're a Jacksonville Jaguar fan. I'm not saying Jacksonville can't play better. I'm telling you, they absolutely have to play better on the offensive line if they want any shot of coming back to Jacksonville with a 5-2 record heading into the bye. So thank you to Leon Searcy. Now let's crunch some numbers. I haven't had this guy on, I don't believe, since the season started. Daniel Griffiths. If you follow Daniel on social media, he's kind of the Jaguar analytics guy. He's with Action Sports. He does a great job. The decimal points, the percentages, the number crunching. What does this number mean? What does that stat mean? He does a terrific job. Let's look at the Jaguars' 4-2 start. Let's talk about the issues on that offensive line. And let's look ahead to the LA Rams on Sunday. We'll crunch the numbers. Daniel Griffiths joins me next, right here on a Wednesday evening in Northeast Florida. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just the job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. When you need a trailer hitch, gooseneck, or RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We've been doing it for 55 years, and customer service is our #1 priority. Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller. Hey, pal, you look troubled. Is something bugging you?
This friendship isn't all upside for me, Jason. People keep asking me stuff about you.
They ask you about me?
Is it really cooler with Bueller, they ask? So I say, totally. And they say, how do you mean that? And I say, he fixes air conditioners, which literally makes somebody cool. But he also has cool sunglasses and cool people and a cool family.
And I try to make working at Bueller Air and Plumbing a really cool experience for our technicians and plumbers. We treat our people like gold, and they treat our homeowners the exact same way.
Great. Well, now there's another cool thing I've got to remember. This is a lot of responsibility, Jason.
Life can get hectic sometimes. If you don't take a moment to slow down and appreciate all the cool parts, you could miss it.
Do people ask you about me at all?
Weirdly, they do.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you become more active, reach your weight loss goals, and find your inner strength. Membership at the Y includes state-of-the-art facilities, a huge variety of fitness classes, and programs for all ages. It's easy to join the Y since it's affordable for all incomes. The Y is a great place to make connections and experience something new. Visit the YMCA near you or online at fcymca.org.
Florida Gators football on 1010XL is driven by Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville, Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors, and the law firm of Farah and Farah. Get Gators play-by-play on 1010XL.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the Southeast to offer multi-unit hair grafting and the 45-minute PRP treatments. Grow your hair back. Call now for a free in-person evaluation. 904-777-IHRS, 904-777-4477, or visit hairforme.com.
Find out what new golf equipment could help your game.
I'm just a humble golf pro. Could I help you?
Get great golf tips and talk from the experts on the Edwin Watts Golf Hour.
Got to figure out why I'm still shaking the ball.
Saturday morning at 10 on 1010XL.
Joe C. from XL Primetime will be live from Lifetime Enclosures and Flooring this Thursday from noon to 2 for the upcoming huge weekend. Big sale at Lifetime Enclosures and Flooring. Come on by, though, during XLP Thursday from noon to 2 and get locked in on some huge savings.
October's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Ackerman Cancer Center offers women's health, diagnostic, and screening services, including contract-enhanced mammography and total body MRI. Early detection is the key. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Jacksonville and Los Angeles, Sunday, 9:30, Wembley Stadium, London, England. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. Both teams come in at 4-2, and the Jaguars looking to right the wrongs of last week's loss against the Seattle Seahawks. Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the analytics. Was it really as bad number-wise as it looked on the field? Daniel Griffiths, Action Sports, does a terrific job crunching the numbers, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Daniel, how you doing?
Hey, very well. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, Daniel, we always appreciate it. Thank you for the time. All right, statistically, based on what I've been told, the offensive line last Sunday against Seattle had one of the worst efforts in the NFL in the last 3 years. Do your numbers back that up? Were they really as bad as it seemed they were on Sunday?
Yeah, it's PFF credited Seattle with 33 pressures, and they also had 17 quarterback hits and 7 sacks. So not good by any measure of the imagination. And it was kind of across the board. It wasn't like one player or two players were getting picked on. Seattle ran a lot of stunts, and that kind of seemed to make things really difficult on the Jaguars' offensive line. They didn't really blitz that much. They're not one of the heaviest blitzing teams in the NFL, so that's certainly a concern for an offensive line that had, up until that point, looked really pretty good. They struggled a little bit against Kansas City. They've given up 25 quarterback hits and 10 sacks in the last 2 weeks.
Ugh. Now let me ask you this: is that the absence of Robert Hainsey, or is there more to it than that?
I think there's more to it than that. The Jaguars. I'm waiting still on the numbers from PFF, but I know that the unofficial numbers weren't pretty from Walker Little and Patrick McCarry against Seattle. I'm curious to see how that turns into. I also saw Chuma Adoga was in there for McCarry a little bit, and then had back-to-back penalties. So that was a pretty disappointing fill. But 10 sacks the last 2 weeks. Previously, in the other 4 weeks, they've given up 3 sacks. So I will add, though, Trevor Lawrence's his games with the 2 longest time to throws since 2022 have been the last 2 weeks, which is pretty interesting. That's he's holding the ball longer, and we've seen kind of the fruits of that a little bit with his plays. He's been a lot more creative the last couple of weeks, making plays out of structure. But if it's coming at the cost of 10 sacks, that might be something that the Jaguars have to tweak a little bit. But it has certainly been fun watching him make more plays outside of structure the last couple of weeks.
Crunching the numbers with Daniel Griffiths of Action Sports with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. They completely lost the line of scrimmage on Sunday, Daniel. Not only was the Jaguar offensive line not any good, the Jaguars didn't get a lot of pressure on Sam Darnold. In fact, they got very little pressure with 4 guys. Every time they got back there, it's because they sent blitz packages. Whether it's Trayvon Walker's injury that's playing a factor or whatever the reasoning is, James Gladstone might have to do something because they are simply not affecting the opposing quarterback right now.
Yeah, they had a season low 17.2% pressure rate against Seattle. It wasn't much better against the Chiefs either. It sat right around 23%. Previously, the first 4 weeks, they had about a 33% pressure rate. The last 2 weeks, 21%. And that's, a lot of that is Trayvon. He only played 16 snaps. And I posted the other day against Kansas City, Josh Hines-Allen was triple teamed more than any other edge rusher in the NFL that week. So it's really, if without Trayvon, teams can really key in on just making sure that Josh Hines-Allen doesn't wreck the play, and don't have much fear in the Jaguars' other guys coming across the line.
Daniel Griffiths of Action Sports. All right, let's look at the secondary now. I thought the defense was okay in totality. Obviously, people are going to point to the breakdown on the 61-yard touchdown to Jackson Smith and Jigba. Also, the breakdown there at the end to Barner, which basically sealed the game. And a lot of people online, Daniel, are complaining about the safety play for the Jaguars. Particularly, let's be honest, people were singling out Dewey Wingard. Now, again, I'm not smart enough to know. That's why we have the number guys on like you. Was the safety play across the board as bad as people were making it seem it was?
Throughout the season, it's not been a concern until really this week with Andrew Wingard. I don't think Eric Murray's played bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just kind of been those. You saw some concerns with Tyson Campbell giving up some big plays. He gave up the the biggest play of the last 4 weeks up until the game against the Seahawks. And then you go get Greg Newsome to try to shore that up. And it doesn't quite work out on that 61-yard play to Jackson Smith and Jigba. And there's certainly blame to go to Newsome and Wingard on that play. But I think the Jaguars defense, even turnovers aside, has been really solid. It's just a couple of big plays here and there that's really killing them down the line.
Do the Jaguars have a kicking problem? What's your thought on Cam Little?
I don't want to get too caught up in one game. Certainly didn't help. He's missed a couple now on the year, but I think his body of work thus far trumps the couple of misses that he's had this season. But it's certainly something to watch going forward. I still have faith in Cam Little. I don't think that they should, be too rash and cut him or anything of that. But he's certainly got to get back and be the guy that we all believe he was or can be.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to cut him by any stretch of the imagination. I will say this, though. If he misses a kick on Sunday in London, they'll bring in some kickers for tryouts during that bye week to maybe put on the practice squad. I mean, at some point, you got to bring in a little competition here because he's missed, I believe, 4 kicks, 3 field goals, and an extra point so far this season, and we're only 6 games in. And then that gets us to Travis Hunter. Look, I thought Brian Thomas Jr. at his best game, despite the drop, 10 targets, 8 catches, 90 yards, and a score. You can live with that. Travis Hunter was targeted 7 times, yet he only had 15 yards receiving, and one of those catches went for 11. So the other 3 catches went for essentially 3 yards. Understanding they probably didn't have a lot of time because they were getting hit so much by the Seattle defense to go downfield a lot. But do they need to send Travis Hunter down the field more moving forward? They don't seem like they're utilizing him to the best of his ability.
Yeah, he's had 2 really, really great downfield catches in his some of his few opportunities against San Francisco. He had that 3rd down catch, and then obviously the one against the Chiefs. And it really gets the most out of his ball skills because, truth be told, you don't really need that great of ball skills to catch screen passes. But the Jaguars have really kind of focused on using him in their screen game. And Liam Cohen loves his screens. The Jaguars, I don't know what. I'll have to look after the stuff comes out from this week, but they were leading the NFL in screen percentage. Travis Hunter's been a big part of that. It hasn't really worked yet, but I was really encouraged by the couple of deep balls that they threw to Travis Hunter, and then they didn't really have any deep targets to him. I will say, like when it's not a screenplay and he's got some space, he's certainly making guys miss. I haven't looked at the forced tackles, but pretty much every time he gets the ball in space, he's making multiple guys miss, and that's certainly exciting, as well as the ball skills that he's shown in limited opportunities. But I'm with you there. I'd like to see more downfield targets for 12.
Daniel Griffiths, Action Sports. Daniel, as we begin to wrap up, I think if everybody takes a deep breath after the Seattle game. At the end of the day, the Jaguars are 4-2. We're in the middle portion of October, and they're right in the thick of it. They would be in the playoffs if it started today, which is a vast difference from where they've been, certainly for the last year and a half leading up to this year. Having said that, London is a gigantic game. I mean, if you beat the Rams in London, you're 5-2 going into the bye, and I almost think people forget about the Seattle game. If you lose to the Rams, well, then you're 4-3, you're limping into the bye, and then there are a ton of questions about this football team, knowing you got back-to-back road games at Vegas and at Houston after the bye week. And you add the dynamic, Daniel, of Sean McVay and Liam Cohen knowing each other as well as they do. Heck, Les Snead and James Gladstone knowing each other as well as they do. There's a lot in play at Wembley Stadium on Sunday between these two teams.
Yeah, the Jaguars got to get back to their bread and butter. It was great offensive line play, strong rushing game, and turnovers on defense. And the last couple of weeks, those things have started to sputter a little bit for them. Jaguars running backs the last 2 weeks are averaging 3.2 yards per carry. and also the penalties. And the Jaguars have one turnover in the last 2 games. It was a big one, mind you. But it's certainly not the 3+ that they were averaging in the first 4 games of the season. But, the penalties, the Jaguars have 52 penalties on the year through 6 games. That's second most. They've got 34 on offense. That leads the NFL by 6. So between 34 penalties and 14 drops, and I don't know how many drops were counted yet in yesterday's game, but say 2. We'll say 2 for safety. That's 50 plays, penalties and drops on the season for the Jaguars if you combine the 2. And those are just miscues that you really can't have, and it takes away big plays that we saw on that touchdown to Brian Thomas Jr. with the offsides on offense. And it's really, some of them are really, really weird penalties, whether it's the throwing across the line from Trevor Lawrence, false start on the quarterback, or offensive offsides. So there's just some really easy, simple stuff that they could clean up and be so much more efficient on offense, and put the offense in plus downs.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And you could tell the frustration that Liam Cohen had Sunday in the post-game press conference about all the penalties. They keep saying every week they got to clean them up. They got to clean them up. Well, at some point, it kind of is who they are, right? They just keep doing these things over and over and over as we enter the middle portion of October. Finally, I mean, it's early in the week, but you can't understate the value of Puka Nacua. We don't know what his status is necessarily for Sunday, but that's a gigantic issue for the Rams if they don't have Nacua, correct?
Yeah, the Jaguars are kind of gotten beat by the NFL's best receivers this year, whether it's Nico Collins, Jamar Chase, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. So if the Rams aren't able to go with Puka Nacua, heck, even Ricky Pearsall, who played pretty well against the Jaguars, had that really nice catch down the sideline against Tyson Campbell. That's kind of been the big plays have been something that have killed the Jaguars this year regarding wide receiver ones of opposing teams. If Puka can't go, that's certainly huge for the Jaguars. And also, I'll mention, Montaric Brown's playing really, really well. So that's really nice to see since the Jaguars traded away Tyson Campbell. Kind of came in yesterday and made some really nice plays, back-to-back pass breakups on that drive.
We love crunching the numbers. Daniel Griffiths, Action Sports, does an absolutely terrific job with that, and he's always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Daniel, thank you as always. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Thank you.
What does Johnny O know best? O knows Jacksonville football.
Okay, say, oh my.
Wednesdays from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today. Served by Twin Peaks, home of the 29-degree draft on 1010XL.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Strap in, Duval. The Jaguars are gearing up to face the Los Angeles Chargers Sunday, November 16th for our annual Salute to Service game. Join us as we honor and celebrate the brave men and women of our military all game long. Secure your seats now and be a part of the action by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. Let's stand together, Duval.
Did you know that for every inch of rain on a 2,000 square foot roof, 1,500 gallons come off the eaves of the roof? Call Clearwater Seamless Gutters and Drainage, and we'll design a plan using our Clearwater Seamless Gutters, and we'll connect those gutters to a Clearwater drainage system to solve your erosion and standing water issues.
Clearwater Seamless Gutters. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at gutters. And drainage, too.
SeamlessGuttersJacksonville.com.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost are the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by November 6th.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
What Major League Baseball teams have never won a World Series?
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
There are 5 Major League Baseball teams that have never won a World Series: Colorado, Milwaukee, San Diego, Seattle, and Tampa Bay.
Southern Oak Insurance, our family protecting yours.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is now available at the Fresh Market Spirits and Wine. The Fresh Market Spirits and Wine is a new adult beverage store offering spirits, wine, beer, and accessories at A1A North in Ponte Vedra, a first-of-its-kind destination for thoughtfully curated spirits, wine, and beer as only the Fresh Market can. And now, you can get Brackish Vodka at the Fresh Market. Brackish Vodka, for whatever your sport is. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When pests invade your home or business, you don't just need them out. You need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, they'll show up for you and eliminate pests quicker, just like they did at my house, because they care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a pest problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's Terminix.com. That's right, Terminix it.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, visit AA Automotive on Richard Street. For oil changes to complex repairs, AA Automotive is a full-service repair shop for personal and commercial fleet vehicles. Trust AA to keep your ride running A-OK.
Tired of wrestling with your shower curtain like it's a fight for the last slice of pizza? Ditch the drama and say hello to a smooth, stylish glass shower enclosure from Baker Glass. Wago Glass is clean, elegant, and makes your bathroom look huge and brighter. Give your shower a makeover and feel like you're in a spa without the price tag. I'm Mac at Baker Glass. Call me and get ready to love your new shower. Let's make your shower great again. Remember, Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Halftime, Hacker After Dark, 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Coming up here in the 9 o'clock hour, Justin Barney, Channel 4, will join me towards the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour to talk Jags, Rams. Also look at the Friday Night Lights schedule coming up this Friday night across Northeast Florida. Coming up in less than 15 minutes, We will go to Tallahassee. Logan Robinson is the owner and the founder of Knoll Game Day. You know, we've been so caught up in Billy Napier's future in Gainesville. Well, what about Mike Norvell's future in Tallahassee? They've lost 3 games in a row. They've lost 10 out of their last 11 ACC contests. They've lost 13 of their last 18 games in the last 2 years. And they have to go to Stanford on Saturday night at 10:30 to play out in Palo Alto. How much trouble is Mike Norvell in? Is his seat almost as hot as Billy Napier's? We'll talk to Logan Robinson of Knoll Game Day about all of that coming up in less than 15 minutes. Speaking of Billy Napier, boy, there's a lot of smoke, man. I'll give Matt Hayes a ton of credit. Of course, you know, it's always funny. I've always said this about Matt. I think sometimes, and we don't do it intentionally necessarily, but you hear him every day here on 1010XL. I mean, I worked with him every day for like 4 years, and now I still talk to him a bunch. He's on prime time, and I have him on a ton here on Hacker After Dark. But I almost think we almost take Matt for granted a little bit. The guy is one of the most well-respected college football reporters in the country. You look at his career in the publications he's worked for, including now the USA Today, Matt does a terrific job covering the world of college football. And he had a report out in the USA Today earlier today that blew up all over the social media sphere regarding Florida and Billy Napier's future. And you can go to the USA Today or just go to Matt's Twitter handle and you can click on the story. So I won't give everything away here. But essentially, in Matt's story, Scott Strickland, it's being reported that he met with a handful of influential boosters yesterday, and he was told continuing financial support depends on the direction of the football program. And there's a ton more to the story. I'll leave it at that. But translation, influential boosters want to change in the direction of the program, which means a change at the top, obviously a change at head coach, and that could come as early as this weekend. Now, Denmark, when I was on here on Monday, I said at that point that I had talked to a couple of people in Gainesville. Look, I was always of the opinion that if they lost to Mississippi State during homecoming to fall to 2-5 going into the bye, well then yes, of course, you probably do something with Napier at that point. I've heard now from a couple of people that it may not matter what happens against Mississippi State. Win or lose, Billy may be gone regardless on Sunday. I would still find that a little hard to believe. I do think there would be issue perhaps with some if you fire the guy coming off a win, particularly if it's a dominating win. So I do find it a little hard to wrap my mind around. It doesn't matter what happens, Denmark, on Saturday. He's gone regardless. Are you on that line of thinking, or do you think, like I do, that might be tough to do?
No, I think that's ridiculous. If you're going to fire him out, and when you lose again, just go ahead and fire him on Sunday, and you're going to a bye week, and that way the new interim coach can have an extra week before you play your next 4 or 5 games.
Do you think they fire him if they win on Saturday?
I'd probably say no.
Yeah, that's what I think. But I've heard from a lot of people that this might be Billy's last game regardless. And again, if you go listen to his press conference on Monday, and maybe it's because more has come out and more rumors are circulating, but it did almost have the overtures of almost like a goodbye, kind of a wrapping up of the last 4 years. Why hadn't things worked very well? I thought he gave some really interesting answers. He was asked flat out by Mark Long about all the coaches getting fired, including James Franklin. And Billy, I thought, gave a heartfelt response about, yeah, we know what we signed up for in this line of work. He also talked about being compensated very well. And look, I'm not going to feel necessarily bad for Billy Napier. I mean, the moment he's told he's fired as the coach of Florida, he can count $21 million worth of reasoning why he's not going to be in that bad of a mood. Now, he'll be obviously upset that it didn't work out. I have no doubt Billy will find work elsewhere, maybe not as a head coach necessarily, but he'll hook on somewhere and maybe get another opportunity like Will Muschamp did, right? Will Muschamp got another opportunity. Jim McElwain got another opportunity. Dan Mullins getting another opportunity. Ron Zook got another opportunity. I have no doubt that Billy Napier at some point will get another opportunity to be a head coach, but it just did not work out at Florida, and it appears to be only a matter of time until something is ultimately done about that. Now, rumors are already circulating again that Lane Kiffin, Marcus Freeman, those are kind of the two names at the top of the list. I've been led to believe that my guy, Brent Key, is pretty gung-ho on staying in Atlanta. That's his alma mater up there at Georgia Tech. Look, I think under normal circumstances, anybody would leave Georgia Tech to come to Florida. But it's not normal circumstances with Brent Key because that's home for him. That's where he played his college ball. So there's a little bit of an underlining probably loyalty that he has to that university. But Denmark, the name Marcus Freeman is coming up a lot. Now, I don't know if Marcus Freeman would leave Notre Dame to come to Florida. I would almost tend to doubt that he would. I think Penn State apparently is sniffing around Freeman as well. What would your thought be potentially on Marcus Freeman to Gainesville?
I'd like it, but there's no shot of him leaving Notre Dame.
No shot.
No, he's not leaving Notre Dame to come to Florida.
Yeah, because keep in mind, I mean, Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to go to LSU.
Yeah, well, that's a little different because Kelly was there for 10, 12, 13 years, and he exhausted every avenue and said, I want to win at a high level. I'm not going to go to the SEC school. Marcus Freeman's only been there a couple of years.
Right. I would tend to believe that I don't think he would leave Notre Dame. I won't go as far to say there's no shot, but I think ultimately your lofty expectations if you think you're going to get Marcus Freeman out of South Bend to come to Gainesville. Lane Kiffin is the guy everybody wants. You got to wonder if Scott Strickland, everything I've heard is that he would not want to do that. Would he swallow his pride maybe and make the call to Lane Kiffin? Would Lane Kiffin be interested? And if it's not Lane Kiffin and it's not Marcus Freeman, well, then what do you do? Then is it Eli Drinkowitz, right? Do you try to pry Brent Key away from Georgia Tech? What about Kurt Cignetti? That's where the whole free-for-all is going to begin once Billy is shown the door. I think if they lose to Mississippi State, and by the way, there's a lot of people picking them to lose to Mississippi State.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the main question at Florida. Who's making the decision? Is it the boosters? Is it the AD? Or is it the GM?
I mean, based on Matt's story and based on other things I've heard, I think my opinion is the boosters are probably starting to force Strickland's hand a little bit.
Yeah, so who do the boosters want?
The boosters want Lane. The boosters want Lane.
Right. So there's the kind of the answer to what all those guys you kept naming.
The boosters want Lane. Do you think Lane wants Florida? Would he leave Ole Miss?
I think he would leave. Now, Matt and all of them say that Lane Kiffin's happy as a clam at Ole Miss and he wouldn't leave. I find that hard to believe. Aspiring people, I mean, Lane's been in the NFL. He's been... he's worked his way up. He's been a coordinator at Alabama, been the head coach at Florida Atlantic, now been at Ole Miss. I would be surprised if he wouldn't consider it and thought long and hard about it. But according to your buddy Matt Hayes, he says that he'd probably stay at Ole Miss.
And believe me when I tell you, Matt is in the know about a lot of things, particularly when it comes to stuff at the University of Florida. So if you haven't read his story on the USA Today, Gator fans, go check it out. You can also just go to his timeline on X/Twitter, and you can get it right there. And again, kudos to Matt for an outstanding job with that story regarding Billy Napier that he published earlier this morning. That's the Billy Napier side of things. We all think he's on the hot seat. We all think his days are numbered. What about Mike Norvell in Tallahassee? They've lost 10 out of 11 ACC games. They've lost 13 of their last 18. And they've had 10 3-game losing streaks or more in the last 45 years of Florida State football. 10 times since 1981, Florida State football has lost 3 games or more. Mike Norvell is responsible for 6 of those 10. Yuck. What is his job status in Tallahassee? Logan Robinson is the owner and the founder of Noel Game Day. He's one of our guys when it comes to Florida State. and he joins me next on a Wednesday night here in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark till 10 o'clock. It's 1010XL, and it's 92.5 FM.
Get the weekend feeling all day Friday.
Best feeling in the world, isn't it?
That's why we give you Pre-Game Friday.
You're gonna love this.
Get the news, notes, and inside stuff you need to get ready for game day. Built by Dreamfinders Homes on 1010XL.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
When storms start to crop up in the Atlantic or Gulf this time of year, having a solid plan to handle anything that sweeps through the First Coast is very important. That's where American Electrical comes in. Ensure your home's safety and comfort with an American Electrical home generator. As the area's leading home generator dealer and installer, American Electrical can offer you easy installation, simple maintenance, and peace of mind. Schedule an assessment by simply calling the team at American Electrical. They'll walk you through the best generator for your home or business. Log on, american-electrical.com.
Hicken here. Celebrate the spooky season with Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $139, plus a free haul, and take 15% off your air duct and dryer vent cleaning. Book online at ZeroResJacksonville.com and take advantage of these huge savings.
Put a little hot sauce on your lunchtime listening.
Spicy.
Joe Coward, Matt Hayes, and Leon Searcy. They are XL Prime Time.
4-alarm fire.
From the big #1 Duval Ford Studios. Noon to 2 weekdays on 1010XL.
What's happening, folks? It's your main man, E.T., of course. And whether you're biking through shaded forest trails, casting a line from Camp Chow Pier, or enjoying music by the St. Johns River, Clay County is full of ways to play. This month, experience off-road trails at the 2025 Crawling for the Fallen. Savor bold flavors and classic rides at Moose Haven's 15th annual Chili Cook-Off and Car Show, and celebrate the fall season at fall festivals all across the county. Find a full lineup at ExploreClay.com. Come on, somebody.
Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece. Premium flooring. Take our advice. Home or business, affordable price. Driveways, pool decks, garage doors, beautiful patios, and more to explore. Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece.
Homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save up to 20% on roof replacements and repairs now through October 31st. Financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Hey friends, Frank Frangie here. You know me. I don't mess around when it comes to taking care of business. Well, if your plumbing or AC company is giving you excuses, it's time to make a trade. Call the pros at Duck Duck Rooter. They're the trusted partner for some of the biggest commercial names in Northeast Florida. Their office team keeps billing smooth, and their field techs show up ready to fix the problem, fast and right. Bring in the starters with Duck Duck Rooter, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Call 904-862-6769. 904-862-6769. Tell them Frank sent you.
In a world where chains seem to take over, it's awesome to have a locally owned retailer who's only focused on Jacksonville. Beards Diamonds is the perfect example. Hicken here. All those jewelers in Town Center are owned by big Wall Street companies, but Beards Diamonds, they are local, man. Say hi to the Lupos when you get in there. They've been around and serving our area for more than 40 years. And Beards run circles around the big chains. Massive diamond inventory, Beards. All the top bridal brands, Beards. Strongest warranties, Beards. Beards wins on price every day. They don't have extra markups to please Wall Street or pay commission salespeople. In fact, Beards guarantees to beat any national chain store on price. So don't buy anywhere until you at least get a second opinion at Beards. I am sure you'll get a bigger, better quality diamond for your money. And it'll be backed by local folks with integrity and local accountability. Man, in a world where generic chain stores pop up everywhere, refreshing to see a local place that can give you a great diamond. Don't buy a diamond in Jacksonville without seeing your best option at Beards Diamonds. Shop local, shop Beards at the St. John's Town Center.
Hey, this is Lauren Brooks. With over 1,700 five-star Google reviews, it was a no-brainer to have Closets by Design help us get organized at home. They create custom storage for every space, lifestyle, and budget. From closets to garages to laundry rooms and more. Closets by Design will transform clutter into seamless organization. Call today to schedule a free in-home consultation and get 40% off plus an extra 15% off with free installation, but only until October 31st. 18-month financing is available. Call 904-878-9393 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. A big college football weekend coming up. Florida State fans, you might want to get a nap in on Saturday. Your kickoff is 10:30 here on the East Coast Saturday night, traveling out to Stanford to play the Stanford Cardinal, a Seminole team looking to break what is now a 3-game losing streak. Where has it gone wrong for Florida State, and what is the future of Seminole coach Mike Norvell? Let's talk about all of it with Logan Robinson. He is the owner and the founder of Nole Game Day, and Logan's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Logan, how you doing, man?
Doing good, Ryan. Doing good. Outside of this 3-game losing skid, I'm down here in Tampa, and it's the complete opposite with the Bucks and Baker Mayfield and what they're doing. But yeah, what's going on in Tallahassee? Pretty ugly. Very ugly.
You know, it's interesting. The last time you and I talked, they were 3-0. They were in the top 10 in America. And the optimism, the hope, everything that Florida State fans had. And in the last 3 games, that has been crushed and shattered to the losses of Virginia, Miami, and Pitt. Logan, what has gone wrong? How did we get here if you're Florida State?
Well, I think everybody will point to the defense, and as they should. The defense fell apart. It wasn't the same kind of performance that you saw against Alabama, where they were getting to Ty Simpson. The pressure was there off the edge. You saw the linebacker corp ball, like just running straight through to where they need to go gap wise, playing with a lot of urgency as well. And then since then, you've seen the fall off the defense under Tony White. That UCLA job opened up early in this college football season. There's been some chatter that maybe, Tony would be one of those candidates. And then also too, maybe he had accepted that gig, behind the scenes. Could that be the fall off of this defense? But there should be no excuse for how this defensive side of the ball is playing. A lot of missed tackles, guys not being in the right spots. And just overall a lack of talent too, as we're starting to see. Something that we had been concerned about going into the season was the lack of talent on the defensive side of the ball across the board, specifically too on that defensive line outside of Darrell Jackson. There's no one else there to help you. You have no pass rush off the edge. James Williams that you brought from Nebraska has been an utter disappointment for you, and there just hasn't been anyone else to help out. Jason Jenkins, who came from Tennessee, who got dinged up in camp before coming into the season, and you're having to rely on true freshmen to be starters for you very early on in this season. Just a big time disappointment there. And also too, if you point to the offense, it's Tommy Castellanos, guys not taking care of the ball as well in the backfield, lots of fumbles, lots of turnovers, and Tommy's not fully healthy as well. And it's just started to turn into a pretty average team after what looked like to be, like you said, a top 10 team after that Alabama win.
Yeah, I mean, it's a complete 180 from where we thought this team was going to be. You had people saying Florida State's back, top 10. They beat Alabama, and then they basically had 2 scrimmages against East Texas A&M and against Kent State. And then you go to Virginia, and you lose a heartbreaker in double overtime, and my goodness, it looks like they've never recovered. And look, the bottom line is the ACC is not exactly the toughest conference in America, yet Florida State has lost 10 of 11 conference games dating back to last year. I would think Seminole fans have to find that completely unacceptable.
Oh, they're fed up with it, as they should. I think anybody that was still giving Norvell more time and still backing him, I think that story is over. That the miracle is over for them. That wasn't going to happen. And when you're going on that streak with the ACC, like you said, it's not the most difficult place and not the most difficult conference. And then you think about the resources that Florida State is given. They have regrouped a lot of things with Michael Alford specifically for the football program. You know, it's gotten to where it's a lot of constraints are going to the basketball program, also to the baseball, other women's sports as well, to be able to facilitate and put more and pump more into this football program. And that's how you were able to bring in some assistants like Gus Malzahn and Tony White. The results, though, on the field are that you're still losing to not just like, Miami or Clemson. It's bad ACC team. It's average ACC teams that you're losing to. You lost to Duke last year. You barely beat Cal. It's an atrocious record that Mike Norvell has in the ACC, and it's a fireable offense in my opinion.
Logan Robinson, the owner and the founder of Noel Game Day, with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, I've been asking my Gator media guys this because obviously Billy Napier's seat is scorching hot. How is Mike Norvell as far as a hot seat candidate? Now, we know about the $58 million buyout, which I have a lot of Seminole people telling me it doesn't matter how bad he gets. They simply cannot afford to buy out that contract. Maybe we'll get to that in a moment. But overall, what is the job security level of Mike Norvell, in your opinion, entering Saturday?
Well, I was going into this last Saturday, going into the Pitt game, and I was talking on our show saying, hey, guys, if Mike loses this game, that's it. It might not happen immediately. It most likely will not happen in the season unless you do go this upcoming weekend to Stanford and you lose to Stanford. Then it's over. You cut it off and it's completely done. And you just got to figure out what to do next. But it's the hottest it's ever been for Mike Norvell. I thought it was extremely hot last year. You can't go 2-10 at Florida State. It's actually unimaginable. It's actually one of the most impressive feats I think we'll ever see and Florida State's program history of being able to go 2-10. That is extremely, extremely hard to do with the amount of talent that you have over some of those teams, the majority of those teams, and then also, too, the resources that you're getting pumped into the program. It just absolutely unimaginable. And so I think for right now, Mike Norvell, I think it's already taken out from under him. It's just that I don't know where you lean on to unless Florida State loses this upcoming Saturday against Stanford, which is a very, very, very bad team. But as FSU fans are thinking, and even I have to as I cover the team, this could be a game on Saturday night, and that should never be in my mentals for a Florida State program to be thinking in going against Stanford.
We know Florida has the resources to buy out Napier. Does Florida State actually have the resources to buy out Norvell? I mean, it's one thing to want him gone. It's another thing to come up with $58 million. I mean, can they afford to fire him?
Well, so there's the money part there with Mike. And, of course, so you don't pay that outright right up front. And, it's going to be over whatever time span that is. So it's already going to be a lot of money. They have the resources to do so for Mike, but the one thing that gets very interesting is that not only do you put yourself in the hole there, but Florida State also put a lot of money pumped into those coordinators as well. With Tony White and Gus Malzahn, also brought in new assistants behind them as well. And then, if you think about it, it gets even more expensive because Florida State's this entire offense is going to be fully revamped going into next year. You're most likely not going to have Tommy Castellanos come back for another season. You're going to be most likely looking for a quarterback if they don't feel like they got what they need from Kevin Sperry. And then you look over and then you got to rehaul your entire roster. Defense needs a lot of help all across the board. Like I was mentioning earlier, there's just not enough talent there. There's not enough talent. There's not enough depth for you, which is a big time concern. So not only are you going to be paying a lot of money to Mike Norvell, you also have got to be able to deal with also too what you did with bringing in Tony White and Gus Malzahn and rehauling your entire roster. And then like with the NIL game, you feel very strongly about some of these true freshmen. This has been I feel like Florida State hit on this recruiting class very well. And we're seeing where these guys are making plays every Saturday. but they've got to keep guys like Makai Danzy and Ousmane Kroma. That is going to cost them a lot of money whenever a lot of these other programs across the country are going to come after them in the transfer portal.
Final moments, Logan Robinson, the owner and the founder of Nole Game Day. Logan, I'm literally having segments on my show talking about who is going to replace Billy Napier in Gainesville. Are we to that point in Tallahassee? Are there names beginning to circulate? Who would be next after Mike Norvell?
I don't think there are a lot of names because Florida State would now be joining a lot of other programs across the country and trying to vie for some of these top targets or top candidates, I guess you could say. It's early. It's early. There's always been a little bit of chatter of Lane Kiffin. That has always been the case around Tallahassee. And could that match well? And it probably honestly would. That's a name that would highly intrigue me. But would he leave the SEC? Would he leave that with all the resources that he has there? Would he come to the ACC, which he'd probably find a lot of success in? He's a coach that was able to do well in the transfer portal, just like Mike Norvell did until things collapsed in that 2024 class. And then, the way that he's been able to coach. And now the issue is that he didn't pull a Lane Kiffin like he did. He didn't pull a Lane Kiffin this last Saturday. He did not lose that game where usually he does. So you could see him going all the way into January and going to the postseason, and things get a lot more interesting there if Florida State were to make a move. But not a lot of names at the moment. I just think there's so many other programs right now, certainly Penn State, that are going to be vying first with more probably resources to take the top target from you. I don't think Florida State needs to go after a big name. Doesn't need to go after a massive name. And I know I just mentioned Lane Kiffin, but there's not a lot of attractive names out there for you at the moment. And with the new change of college football, you don't need a huge name. You need to be pumping in a lot of money into NIL to bring in some top talent. That's a necessity at this moment in time.
Yeah, I'm sure Gator fans here in Jacksonville hearing you say Lane Kiffin, they're saying, yeah, you better wait in line because Florida would be very interested, at least the fan base would be very interested there as well. All right, Logan, final question. We got about 60 seconds. What a weird game. 10:30 East Coast kick all the way out in Palo Alto, California. You mentioned Stanford's terrible, and they are. But that's an odd situation for Florida State to have to fly on the other side of the country to play at 10:30 East Coast time.
Yeah, it gets very weird. It's very weird. And for right now, we've been hearing from Mike Norvell in these press conferences, and it's a lot of coach speak and a lot of respond, execute, take advantage of opportunity. It's the same old thing. There's nothing much changing there with Mike. And it's a 10:30 kickoff. It's going to be a very late one there. Mike Norvell said that the team is going to get there on Friday and stick to that schedule there. So it's going to be very interesting how these guys perform. But this team as a whole is going to have to get better. Not only this is a late night kick, all that kind of extravaganza, but also too, they're dealing with a lot of injuries, specifically offensively. It's Deuce Robinson. That's their top player on the offensive side of the ball. I think he's going to be pretty limited going into this game. Also, Micah Pettis, your right tackle. We didn't even see him attend the game this last Saturday, and that's a big-time player there for you. And then also, too, Tommy Castellanos got dinged up in the first play against Pittsburgh. That's something to monitor as well. And Squirrel White, where is Squirrel White, the Tennessee transfer wide receiver? There's a lot of things outside of here, Ryan, that it concerns me a little bit, at least offensively, and we already know how bad that defense has looked so far this season.
Logan Robinson, the owner and the founder of Nole Game Day. Logan, tell the Seminole fans here in Jacksonville about Nole Game Day and the coverage you guys will have heading out to Stanford on Saturday.
Yeah, Ryan, thank you for having me. We're going live tomorrow night on our YouTube channel at Nole Game Day. We'll preview this Stanford game. We'll continue the discussion on the future of the program and Mike Norvell, but you can find us on Facebook as well at Nole Game Day there and on Instagram, all across socials. So I appreciate you, Ryan, as always, for having me on here.
He's one of my guys when it comes to Florida State, Logan Robinson of Nole Game Day. Logan, appreciate the time. We'll talk soon, pal.
Thanks, Ryan.
Your play-by-play home of Bulldogs football is 1010XL.
The 6-1 Bulldogs rev up their high-powered offense for Thursday night lights against Riverside at 7 o'clock on 1010 a.m.
You've got a circle of friends, right? Well, how about a circle of beer? All your favorites like Bud Light, Bud Heavy, Mick Ultra, or Natty Light. It's all there in the cold case at Circle K. Probably one right around the corner right now calling your name. Slide on in to a Circle K.
Jacksonville, archery season is here, and nobody does archery like Green Acres Sporting Goods, home of the largest archery pro shop in Northeast Florida. Come test shoot the newest bows from Matthews, Hoyt, Raven, and all the top brands. And starting this month, take advantage of Florida's sales tax holiday on all Second Amendment related items, running now through the end of the year. You can find it all at greenacresporting.com.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal, you look troubled. Is something bugging you?
This friendship isn't all upside for me, Jason. People keep asking me stuff about you.
They ask you about me?
Is it really cooler with Bueller, they ask? So I say, totally. And they say, how do you mean that? And I say, he fixes air conditioners, which literally makes somebody cool. But he also has cool sunglasses and cool people and a cool family.
And I try to make working at Bueller Air and Plumbing a really cool experience for our technicians and plumbers. We treat our people like gold, and they treat our homeowners the exact same way.
Great. Well, now there's another cool thing I've got to remember. This is a lot of responsibility, Jason.
Life can get hectic sometimes. If you don't take a moment to slow down and appreciate all the cool parts, you could miss it.
Do people ask you about me at all?
Weirdly, they do.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
1010XL is your home for Florida Gators football. Protected by the law firm of Farah and Farah, Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville, and Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors. Follow every Gators game on 1010XL.
Hi, I'm Amber Frangie. You know that other Frangie? Well, he's my dad. But I'm here to tell you about how much I appreciate the Awaken 180 weight loss program and how it's changed my life. Like a lot of folks, I let myself go a little. Not proud of that, but it happens. And I wasn't sure what to do. I've tried a lot of other weight loss programs, but they just didn't work. Not like Awaken 180. Can you believe I've lost 70 pounds in less than 4 months? With Awaken 180, there's no medication, no shots, and no side effects. And best of all, really fast results. You eat the food that's provided, and it's really good food. You work with a coach on a regular basis who guides you through the whole process. I'm never hungry. In fact, I never feel like I'm sacrificing anything. Just living a totally normal life. That's my new normal. And now, in October, they're offering free consultations. So there's no reason not to call them and learn more. Call them at 844-346-1800, or you can visit awaken180.com. It really has changed my life, and I bet it'll change yours too. That's Awaken 180.
Joe C. from XL Primetime will be live from Lifetime Enclosures and Flooring this Thursday from noon to 2 for the upcoming huge weekend. Big sale at Lifetime Enclosures and Flooring. Come on by, though, during XLP Thursday from noon to 2 and get locked in on some huge savings.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On October 15, 1966, Bill Russell becomes the NBA's first black head coach when he was designated as player coach of the Boston Celtics, winning in his coaching debut over the Warriors.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Dr. Kevin Kaplan, team physician for the Jaguars and proud member of Jacksonville's newest orthopedic dream team. At Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville, we brought together 10 board-certified fellowship-trained surgeons, each one a specialist in their field, all working together to deliver smarter, faster care with better results. From sports injuries to joint replacements, we've got the right player for every position. Visit osjax.com and meet your team. That's osjax.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Rams, Sunday, 9:30 in the morning here on the East Coast. Of course, you'll hear that game right here on 1010XL. It's a really good game for London. The 4-2 Rams, the 4-2 Jaguars, in what is one of the better games of the NFL Week 7 calendar. Let's talk about the Jaguars coming off that loss to Seattle and how big a game this is against L.A. on Sunday. Justin Barney of Channel 4, always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Justin, how we doing, man?
Not too bad, Hack. Getting ready for an early one on Saturday, followed by a late or early one on Sunday, followed by a late night on Friday with high school football. But man, I love the busyness of the season.
Yeah, it's a crazy week overall because you and I will have Friday Night Lights. We'll talk about that in a moment. We could have some real activity in Gainesville with Billy Napier's future, win or lose. And Florida State kicks off at 10:30 on Saturday night. So if you're a Jaguar and a Seminole, you're not going to get a lot of sleep because only 11 hours after the Seminoles kick off, the Jaguars will kick off at Wembley Stadium, 9:30 Sunday morning. Justin, last week was brutal, man. The offensive line got destroyed. The Jaguar defensive line wasn't much better. The reason the Jaguars lost the game was simple, man. They lost the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it was as bad as we've seen, and I can't remember the last time that Trevor just looked so rattled back there. He had no time to throw. I mean, pressured on more than half of his dropbacks, 7 sacks. I mean, you entered the game with having allowed 6 all season, and just reminiscent of earlier Jaguars teams where nothing went right on that offensive line, which is surprising to me because the offensive line has been pretty stable this year. It's one of the areas of the team I think there's been quite a bit of growth. And you've seen that in the running game. You see that in the lack of sacks before that Seattle game. So really a step back, and you hope that it's just a passing phase. You hope it's one game. It was a bad game coming off an emotional night and on Monday night against the Chiefs. So you hope you can chalk it up to that and move on. You hope it's not a sign of things to come, especially playing a difficult defense in the Rams on Sunday.
You know, there was blame all across that Jaguar offensive line, but I'll be honest, Justin, I had to stop watching videos circulating because Walker Little, that was not good from many aspects on Sunday for the Jaguar left tackle.
Not when he's your starting left tackle. You just re-signed him. Obviously, as last year under a different regime, you signed him to a longer deal. And is he kind of who we thought he was all along? And I don't think he's as bad as we saw Sunday, but I do think it opens the question of maybe some musical chairs on the offensive line if things continue to progress that way. Maybe move Anton there, maybe you move Wyatt Milam there. Something has to be done. You cannot continue to have games like that. And if Walker is the weak link, I think you could kick the tires on maybe exploring a change at that position.
Justin Barney of Channel 4. You know, the Jaguars also need to get back to who they are. The first month of the year, they were one of the best running teams in the National Football League. Now, understanding that as the season gets deeper, defensive coordinators get film, adjustments are made. I understand it wasn't going to stay like that. But even in the win over Kansas City and certainly the loss to Seattle, Justin, the running game has done virtually nothing.
Yeah, and it was a pretty solid unit the first part of the season, and it lagged the last 2 games. There's no question about that. I think they were averaging over 130 a game. Now you're down to 124. So yeah, you're missing those big explosive plays, and a key to I think what Liam Cohn wants to do is what he did in Tampa Bay, and that's run the ball. I mean, he went from the 32nd ranked rushing offense to the 5th in his lone season there, and you saw that kind of success early on through this part of the season for Jacksonville. So get back to run the football, let that offensive line get some stability going back again, and you kind of just have to hope that was an aberration. When the defense is not forcing turnovers at a breakneck pace, the offense just kind of lags and flounders, and you hope that's not the case. But man, we did not see a good one from that team on Sunday, and you got to just hope it was a one and done, and they get back to things. But I'm not too optimistic with that front that the Rams have, and that line got 19 sacks and really get after the quarterback. Jared Verse is playing good ball, so another test right after that Seattle game coming on Sunday against the Rams.
6 games in, Justin, why hasn't Travis Hunter become a bigger part of this offense?
Yeah, it's a little bit disappointing to me, to be honest. You drafted this guy, and he's a guy that James Gladstone said could change the trajectory of the league, and all this other stuff that was, you believed it on draft night, but we just have not seen that. And to me, I think Travis could be a better cornerback than he is a receiver. But they need help at receiver. I mean, the secondary has been solid. Travis has been solid when he's been back there, but man, their pass catchers have stunk it up this year. Brian Thomas Jr., He's got the same amount of touchdown catches as Tim Patrick. De'Ami Brown has been a disappointment. Parker Washington is a solid guy, but he should not be mentioned as your number one or two guys. The pass catcher's just not been what we expected them to be, and starts with BTJ. But you're right. I mean, Travis, I don't know if they have him trying to do too much, and it's a little bit different than Colorado with doing things. And he's not been that guy on offense that we expected him to be, or really needed him to be, because these receivers have not delivered.
Couple of more for Justin Barney of Channel 4. You know, you take a deep breath after the loss to Seattle. All right, 4-2. That's still pretty good. I mean, they've already equaled their win total of last season. They're certainly playing above where I had them 6 games in. But that leads me to this Los Angeles game on Sunday at Wembley Stadium in London. Boy, what a crossroads game. The game before the bye. There is just a Grand Canyon's worth of difference between 5-2 and 4-3. To me, Justin, if they win on Sunday to get to 5-2, you almost forget about the Seattle game, and you go into the bye on a high at 5 wins. If you lose to LA, that compounds the Seattle loss, and now there are real questions about this team going into the bye on a 2-game losing streak.
Yeah, I think that's accurate, but I do think I don't know who had this team at 4-3 before the break. I certainly didn't. With just the questions, the new staff, and everything. So even to be 4-3 at the break, I think would be a pretty remarkable turnaround for this team. And it's not you're not trending in the right direction. Certainly going into the bye, if you're going in there with 2 straight losses, and really how the losses happen. I mean, with the Seattle loss, the Bengals loss, which just looks even worse in hindsight with how Jake Browning has performed in that game. But you've been in every single game you've played this year, including the 2 losses that you've had. And I think they'll be in the Rams game. I don't know if they'll win it or not, but I do think that there's something to be said about Jacksonville being in every single game this year, finding ways to win in games that would have lost last year. And you got 2 stinkers of games this year in Seattle and Cincinnati. You just got to hope that they kind of shake off things from the past game, from the Seattle game. I mean, they are their own worst enemy at this point. I mean, you've lost 2 games because you can't protect Trevor, you can't run the football, and then the late defensive lapses against Cincinnati. But you've been in every single game. Issues that were issues last year, yeah, they may still be there, but you're finding ways to win. So not as alarming to me if you go in the break at 4-3 and show some signs of life and you've corrected things. But certainly to get there at 5-2 and feel like there's some real momentum when you've already gone through the most difficult part of your schedule would certainly be an accomplishment for Liam and his staff.
Justin, final Jaguar question. Then I want to end with Friday Night Lights. All right, so Liam Cohen, Sean McVay. I mean, those guys obviously have familiarity with one another. James Gladstone worked for Les Snead in the LA Rams organization for 9 years. He certainly knows a large majority of the personnel on the Rams roster. How, if anything, could that affect the dynamic on Sunday?
I think it'll be interesting. And, it's almost reminiscent of Doug and Andy Reid, with all their history together. And, of course, Doug never beat Andy Reid. So you hope that changes in terms of the familiarity and Liam being familiar with Sean and Gladstone and Snead, their connections and stuff. So it would be cool to kind of beat your mentor that first go around. And we've seen just in recent history with Doug and Andy Reid how difficult that proved to be for him. But we'll see if that can change this week. I mean, they did beat the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. That's a pretty darn good win, something Doug Peterson never did. So it's difficult, I think, to go against your mentor, and you're cut from the same cloth. I mean, Snead and Gladstone, I'm sure, are very similar to one another, and a lot of things that McVay did, Liam still references here in Jacksonville. So I like the matchup. I love the fact that it's the juicy subplot exists for this London game, and I'm more concerned about Jacksonville's offensive line and can it hold off that Rams front. I mean, 19 sacks for the Rams. Jacksonville, I think, as a team, has 8 sacks. So it will be interesting that the chess pieces of the offensive line against that Rams defensive front and see if there can be some improvements from what we saw last time out.
Justin Barney of Channel 4. Of course, before the Jaguars and the NFL slate and before a big college weekend, we have Friday Night Lights coming up here in Northeast Florida on Friday evening. You can stream it on the social media platforms of both Channel 4 and 1010XL. Justin and I will be live at the Channel 4 studios beginning at 7 o'clock on Friday night. Well, looks to be a pretty good night of high school football, Justin. I guess the headliner would be that big one between Ed White and Oakleaf.
Yeah, that's a good game. That's a Super 10 matchup for us, number 5, number 10. Really a big challenge for Ed White, the team that they played earlier this season that gave their only loss. Merritt Island is a really good team. They lost 52-49 in that game. I don't know if Ed White will put up 49 points in that game, but this is a really good clash of both offense and defense, good sides of the ball. So biggest test of the regular season for Ed White and Oakleaf. You know, the last really, really solid team they played was Bowles, and Bowles took them apart. So we'll see if they can get back on track, and they've looked good since that loss. So 6-1 and 6-1 coming to you on Friday night. We'll be dropping in on that game and talking about that one, as well as Creekside and Range, which is our game of the week. So 2 really good ones we'll have the opportunity to drop in to look at on Friday night during our stream, Hacker.
And again, we invite you to join us 7 o'clock Friday night. Social media channels of both Channel 4 and 1010XL for Friday Night Lights with Justin Barney and yours truly. Justin, thank you as always. I'll see you over there at Channel 4 on Friday.
Take care, Hack. Thanks for having me.
There you go, Justin Barney of Channel 4, always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Yeah, Ed White, Oakleaf, he mentioned Creekside and Rains will be the other game of the week on Channel 4 as well. We'll stream the show and be able to drop into both of those contests and react to them in real time. So we spent some time on that tonight, but as you can imagine, a majority of our conversation was about the Jacksonville Jaguars as they got back to work over in London today to begin preparations for the LA Rams. They'll be back on the practice field tomorrow and Friday. They will have a walkthrough on Saturday and then kickoff Sunday, 9:30 here on the East Coast, Sunday morning. And again, you'll hear it as you hear every Jaguar game right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. We also talk some college ball. There's all sorts of rumors going on about Billy Napier, win or lose. Could the Mississippi State game be his final game as coach at the University of Florida? That rumor is certainly picking up a little bit of steam in the last couple of days. And what about Florida State? They've lost 3 in a row. They've lost 13 out of 18. They've lost 10 out of their last 11 ACC contests. They have a 10:30 game Saturday night against an awful Stanford team out on the West Coast. If Stanford beats Florida State, to have Florida State lose 4 in a row, at that point, when will Mike Norvell begin to be in a lot of trouble if he isn't already? I know it's a gigantic buyout of his contract if they were to let him go, but could we potentially see openings at both Florida and Florida State coming up here in a matter of weeks? Well, that will just about do it, man. Very, very busy Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Justin Barney of Channel 4. Always appreciate Justin stopping by here on Hacker After Dark. Thank you to Logan Robinson, the owner and the founder of Knoll Game Day, part of the SI umbrella, Sports Illustrated there, as we certainly spent some time on Florida State and what this may or may not mean this Saturday against Stanford to the future of head coach Mike Norvell there in Tallahassee. Daniel Griffiths crunched the numbers with us. Action Sports, always appreciate talking numbers when it comes to the Jaguars with Daniel Griffiths. He does such a terrific job doing that. And then back in hour number 1, my buddy Leon Searcy, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You hear him every day on Primetime, and you get him weekly right here during the year on Hacker After Dark. Now, tomorrow, a little bit of a change. You'll get double dose of Hacker tomorrow. I'll be right back here with you at 8 o'clock tomorrow night on Hacker After Dark. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll be sitting in with Hayes Carline on the Frangie Show. Frank is off to London, so I'll be sitting in with Hayes from 2 o'clock